September teeing out Poles colors. September underneath LPMD 4th. Avanson hours on September 24th. Have Beaver drones burst from Kherson, heading toward Kacha Airfield in Crimea, where 2 An-26 aircraft a Vikhr sat waiting. Decoy. Or C. LMD. Winkelbit in the course Teaspoon. Completion. What means? Become the next bonfire. At the next command of me's. Being grappling to be able to people. Angel. Victim. From the stuff in here. Coavi Quabrevian into 3P Arium have you been summed quiet so far by using before him. Why the misenerter? Through a known writ dry getty 3SC sinclated through a mind cranny than he said. For a no ratcheting letting on of interact great turkare if thought lane teapot. The Joseph and I had the ill crew. Fours in the ol ikiamed Pantsir. In a matter of P4. This would all change in a matter of seconds. P4 and Klonda Peter 4. Unknown to the Ukrainians. The ref Russianism. Parked. TOR-M. Any radar. T4. Defense. Rekis. Defense system. Right in the middle of the US Dachul Skemball lacked all 6 drones, the batteries that's radar locked MP sortie and array on the 6 drone clit and all ladix that Kirby it being Aku Henny Chaselvanani at to the Krail Bathanella. And him at Setter Fieser. The Hideock is warnings this wisdom. Screamed that specific tone. That spist. And this get Tigran, that means you're about to have it, you're really bad. Sound beer. Einer a night egg. Meine Kavina. Melnia. You will ninja through a virnins of Philip. A Russian missile was already in the air. PP4. Annie MP4. A Russian missile was stopped. Then, Ugraslenki to 15 times accelerating to 3 MP4. XA and 6 of the size, Soiter, with 3 times the speed of sound. Scat Cordy with any MP4. This, the 9mm331 MIFOR. The spy missile would arrive in 18 seconds. P4 tab explosives to turn the drone into confetti with I express. Conadir Tom Act for leaves PC10 the Drenny to Yelfan the Preambus text post crimes for any convenerants. Now fight a home if these percipentability of Halsrow of the own India dextron and a face does Christ no natty fevers Pradian and a Cree has us 4. MP4 that the operator did the M the Sant Whippier MP4. Statter. The operator bid the only thing he could. The Dexol hard the drones composite EQPQ tiftit. Ronnie to fizz of Woodman as Flonians, Espressing Kitties, Storm, and Sick Septian. Bastan Nickel a wooden Shiva Storm. There's a 3 meters above the Black Sea. A 3 meters above P4. Close enough to taste the Sahus 8 Paspriolium in a plasm. Luff. Salt spray. Leafors the Beaver for the Fanies at Bow and labeled out and redeled knack to follow. The Ader B, the missile to Frowlet to follow with Randat legs, Quanlet Boykixes. For Thoblain the Ader. But here's designed to them to bef iders to my missiles, designed in the missiles here's of the Fingav and Nanacamus best Viagrad, Kinkoya said. Here's yours designed in the 1990s. Centerforder jets of higher altitude that in fire plating and any of fighters. They were built to at high altitude. They were built. It pickles up to paid band of airports at high altitude. 4. Not composite airplanes side skimming waves. Matt. Can you stoning wake wem? That's that. Jikins. Contrauterge puthi bark. You miss a kapati was pumented from Sis's work. Noose Jamaica's. And in that. And its party kicks at us can. Sonipos out that says it. We're searching with the Francis, and Karen, assertion is per Vikhr, profiting is gritter. The ills and threatening his absence are crying, with Lumen bound, weed lesson.
frontal friction. Whatever your aims currently on his upon.
Damur T to fine sketchers. Ga confect kikraken semi for, and 150 num uses her. Second and hit water. P4. It doesn't matter with if you're ein effer missile lialet or la bri actithe or nismanampa stick pranning at the beef leader, perfonet grivther, and if you're a missile and or a frick to do a kind. 4. You are done. Forward hafting air, the explosion through water, 45th and air. The precanifted in equipana pay and beach. Use queen knowledge. In that beach. And the Shraneber caught that sea pappins I've atha with the NEMP4 and the second Beaver like buckshot, even the fire and the Srebnal called puckshot, and Atkins are let table aid fine Essekizar. Paul Wintony after Thor and sending Kret, praining the sea, at Karatio, aftereening into the Sepeptane. Thrami after Rex enter Budlatats, Lanentingite in at Pavert is her ears, Zanting your range she's inflating in at Brinker Neaning, and the Z in the seal. That's miscritive of the rain is the E. Kurskauti bumla pruk. Hugh Coles. 5 surviving drones scattered like pool balls after a break. F every direction while when. The core. The different direction. Valer fighter figure operator turtis. Bat and a guppa cane eater. Cornus the farfel. Earlier cousin figure. Rat, the king of chew, stony, see. Eat a kiss a cunning nail test. Shoot next love. Sub. Of this inclination was Gristina. IFSI. P4. His computer target. His computer could track and pat 48 targets and Cordy fit portos at. Found keys, PCAS for it. At once. Sen. When. I'm graying aptly grass peace worthy. Voyeur. That's, they had the Sears, that Terpat had Peens Brythil programmed by people who thought Colgrel aircraft flew out in flying straight to line. Et trainee forward back to war, let pedal Sainbury, on that their penipil you refer to crane while for of emptying is the. Fought Penelius path turned back, Ukraine, while climbing steeply. Eastig is spawn out, but you town tati and superi to belly to the radar, instead of just full wingspan and belly. Boss presenting is mistun your frost in the trains, match aside from paid up in the radar, presenting challenge to know was it cleave. So reigns his iversically vapapujuez nas. MP4 on radar and dar. Yeah, that's he hair. Woman, yeah. Scott changes signature from a tiny dot P4. We've outive dot to something 3s. B-cacker. Gammon staniums, the lease. Video not can see it. Now Pexas. We're both in his deans of the saints and his can herime is worth it. 4, like turning a knight P4. N, ang, fly, turning a nideways versus edge on. P4 plus. Precuddy soar, pi of a bass, book ras, hoina, boss conef saucer, Doppler ship, that Suvir of the spine, Blyrock, Kating Ek, Q aims as cracks or groove and computers interpret, but as highest priority, thread of an hand coach, as high priority, third extent personal line and take as eerie at the zit, you will regain that. He play will denator, he's E4, numph beater, but Vovert, bigger there, he jarred. Turn weesh. You see. Vertical moving. Mint. We only in either a climbing fighter. A home at an order an incoming missile. Or an incoming missile. This I use with the sea. Half. Missiles changed this single decoy. Back home. While 4 real threats dropped to wave it and that is his breath. Guilt will bring us a deep track, kept in the blank die.
Key for the Gray Black Sea. You Key Levin Chilowsi was a little of you.
Beaver Trayer. The force how can row with any MP over 40, but Beaver the plow looking per the time, the tire proper realized, Eve Payne, Benflex. The Fefta twice is direct to Iranian Bay. The drones had slipped a Tamidine Maldine Osk on a slitty added teen tan nest Tainchkill was the MP4. The drones had slipped at inside his minimum range. These CAC fares. That exact distance that convert the Komentepi sword. Veninias Vafinakev Hing Edir, Sebek. In Jespikre. The missiles can arm. Their warheads fast in others. Before country to you, and weeds like trying to punch somebody for skiing choir weak entity ampus hugging you av he stein battery pervav air phylactrine illis likes hugging you. Core his desperate warning bar. Tori the next expriv wind the kind of panic where has recansignam. Comes from explaining it to vow, pas air bonus, ising tonas the illy echoes.
Nearly as Lenny.
Both how 4 toy playing Pete when he housed.
Cheers and them. Chris. He. Only in call you'll want it for your Legions. I honest that are union anally the hort where will wherever you any with core really cool. Royalty was more gores and more we learn here at where.
I ant P4 Kesher. 4 drones ultra low, heading 270. Jet. They know our positions. They know. Run of Rini Bram Peoplein Vit. Bon effort but Vathet. Many Fitch. Atiun Hipitain. Bienven Date and Day Rilchgat. As it not him. See it's it. That's thanks and you'll been him to direct once colon. Sing ends. Say Smalim Hani so's one. 4. Engines off. Wheat hangs Benper, Tans. You have Vikhr. We're then for MP4. Waiting for exactly this scenario. Turter, Commander's warning. Reached the Black Sea Fleet the 5 Hain of 2 losing hours. Adjudal was going to cancel me. Zuo 5 or 28. Hours. She, you boring. He finer than eyes can ain't he menace you? Main then meets Howard. Ben Etienne Puissenis effort the dispatcher looked at MP4. The dispatcher looked to patrol chart and smiled. And Tismay and May on that every lended. The Rip Raptor, because Russian naval, intelligence fixed out, Ukrainian, out to Ukrainian drones like to broth to cross the who sink the earth. Falvanani Jews. Is Jordan Tibolinos as secretary Julino? Zeal, Cord, Sick Views. When it's amazing, blue weekly need to hear. Well, here. Right, when the watch changed. And the Vriarthany what you are thinking about the prefew Fuvadin. Breakfast instead of Threxus, if the thing out the was thinking about. Breakfast is inserted in repeat. August game vestrats. Skate identical. Pray. Lazy. Chesting Paul Siki. Increvitan Tanakura Sat. The genitals and ushers you neither know for. The platform AMP4 can abriva canimers to PC to 4. Abandoned since 2014 any NP4 that's either packed when Russia grabbed Crimea. MP4 stood on, rusted, legs 30, arms 30 mev above the water. Any MP4C. LOD PDT. E. Sickups nan aptine. Cover for a boat playing hadn't. Seek with $1,000,000 stakes. 4. The platform sat exactly M4 and sat at the Ukrainian PN Kustan PN time. The bat semi and tin kier numbing kern from the Ukrainian coast. Kois me in a present call neither. By Cartage and Prowsen and the Greater Vikhr. 3rd. Just outside the range coastal artery. With aftality, coastal artinilzer. Tient. Rec. Rather than in coastal artillery. 4. Os enough to intercept any in Crimea. but close up safe anything MP4s. Near. But close enough to record of heady for Kherson. In Sachs Feeder Tech to Vort M went D to P14 is here was 45M. PP40, the Raptor could acrev to there shallow and the if needed. We've canned that Beaver, P Conley, P Cirelli, and if the also voice inina gold tip P4 but T up node and grit sepen during even naf but D enough to maneuver at speed. But D to maneuver at speed. Pins ornthopatadia. Hey, freckenverk the audio with any M Pierce 4. If you look here at the Raptor's bow, Moffin 4, you'll see the Opravakard Abd remote weapon station is Afapangni, East Vikhr Vakalry weapon station Yulseki, the E Kemainta Paulot and weapon state 4. This isn't a normies Viren, Kem Spanks Air. This isn't a normal machine gun and pounder-stabilized platform with an MP's wardy ballistic computer there. That prepitziern, Piercithy Paratactral get is Prekapliskas. Banks can become the uprackets in living bloods. Bonal and Diets of the Banbar to Joda. Anthony is a pest. Chief Counsel's Nick Ryan is Cove and Last. I'm pissy heat is not like a mechanical bulb full of evil. Andy Thurply and Gate no Chief Gorge and will strictly deal and passing ICCs with filing or hose and having a local counties and GE is a speak over way and any city will lane deals. Gan quitter disconomy how able dick M on insulate P. K treating but the B. Doa gunner setting. You cart, bat, and the fan Nina. Sat. He this service horribly lacking at X screen safe. A racket from field fire. And mine, the sea any justle. Addy. 8 of their 15 is fright the seat. A mustard. Comina Fiu was every meaning of whole photo. Weavers got the Black Seas Perthis Kapiverdheers, Ak Theriani Aod with Efi Lens here per and T4 Beavers, Reapsake Bissier, at UO 5 to 31. That's the T. 2. GPS Waypoints. Dine Solteden, Patterson's Keystwoods one of Pussing, while their video feeds showed nothing but dark. Water trains, Anchor water, Sprizate will pot and static. But Uncle Wild Tron, Thing Benny, Bye, Fly. By Port Honeybee for Fly. P4 Ain Claim M ahead. Peversees for Raptor's Thermal Ember Quasin a Foreman Apier Slithio Watch Baptipin a Vast Peen coming. E. The Raptor's Thermal Imager watched them coming. See warn their Birminghams, Whelmder, Demdetter. P4 the drones gassing air. The Roninau's gasoline engines were running at 2 hatches, bestie viewers. Italy the Vusi Victor at 200 degrees C, while the ocean was as 50 Sindine Reven view. PP4. On turning thermal imaging. Sorty that temperature differ up anathema as in evla no alms of Kyaman. Low like sifgaretits mave them glare defer. Laxiganekin, Actridas, Von Lazit, Indesata, Cupani, and the Unti, 2 other nest can, and average on the claiming like cigarettes in Miller's Conadronets user views. 4. That P4, their system could audio at 3 kilometers. The system could track that heat 6 nature. Examen T4 and Minsa Trinity that can discrete into Rementi Viscurzini de Fandaler Piece in Est, San Penetra the Apologist Spares. And P4 even. Asked by East Bray. The ambush started with 14.5 Omwas and 0.5. With the end, the ambush started with an Mac 12 rounds, erupting from nowheres. Echo, a Bafri loaded, miles and thing from anywhere. Bold in a for P40 Canthenium P4 these weren't regular bullets. These, for each thumb serb, size rounder Kefko Pafli port leach through a car lengthways. The only an ivory above upon his deaver can have about Tamot, but the character la beta. Freenis, and grand Balapol the complete mini, Thora, a cutting my vet canny, and acting wise. The alien via conit listening view. Even quarterly plus crash. Submarine the lignant lampa. The what lies to be in. The solutions. The gun's computer kept fall kepi under wis and a canny her. That his computer calculated the solution. Ins calma certer. NEMPE4, 155 Vubby Kenders per perf target, 1 800 MNE out. 3M, crosswind. AP4, tum to bit of Kriya Fury, and except this quarterback was ding ha. And a 3-0 at 4 quarter save high him it's importing infer.
That Vikhr under checkmate. At contact in cat. Hit. Teeny of Cool Delaney and his connects.
Force 40er. Then with Enid Beaver took Subway 6 X Walnuts and came fricans. He came from 6 time. BNT He's another. Hacks in 2 seconds. What any MP4. The rounds punching. Tap is the Mepser. Through its composite body, like hot needles through butter.
Hottles. The thing is a Drew Bill.
Mohon here's what ains you are P-SOR. Save ticket, the NEM to P4. The drone was essentially a flying empty box with some electronics tucked in the corners and explosives in the node. He was explosive the loo there means closely to me. Below you know older. Water and theme space of the bullets when stray on P4 than that we conwain is Ivory eating but sem men of engine the act and any MP4s to the bullets when strays and why does this relink against the concentration? Through that with Heathing Widel say. Full easing tapey foot. To vacan M anale with any waiter pulled back hard. And the operator pulled back hard. Tanny store at Weimering step that I Black 20 hack straw near dual talving of that of 8.10 of retrially av how much even a visible animal like that is what the visible on affect the world's most dangerous best mode the yellow that they're going in Heinerman the breath worlds in his eyes from the inclining of its K. Really think you will use you ran coys and angry and attack was drinking yes, Miss Sporting on black holder and read some new to it. You ain't earnest strong sense of early you'll tell with you and we will for it. At 100 mem altitude, drone P4, geometry became the M drone's best friend. T of the M drone's best friend Asus Peak Kherson. 4 was in the canon with her hot Raptor's gun could aim up to 60 degrees hand of a pair. Spatty Kester for chest bands to 60 rate. That and a pianini fout of the Alpha to Renswatcher comfort had EMP4, the Drak 5 Act 3. But the drones of Brit tanning time plikauser erected overhead of the fractal in the Eder Guiders. Could see it, track it, the gunner, cell hack could send it, and Losa track it, and you can convert the verticity of the time of the Peter. P bus cordon point his weapon at it, but couldn't point PE scores. Put we e-pointic genfizing fire. 4 UP4, like trying to swat a fly on the seating at shailing while you're the stanos fine as a kiachin. A fly on your Sistiant Imi. Chin. Frati. Corners as a car folded trotter see Kaling. While using in a chair. P4. Why the Pahasti Skym fear balled and bolts engines roared to life. See it's Atten Sep Haley. Twins 4s Ike and MP4. Zeckler to 48 toy knots in the 12 seconds. 4, but speed. But at that speed, 4 to for Krian's Christ the boat didn't sails at Slacher via butts. Freys be Anakim Smanisti. Let you do that. It didn't sail so mostels. Vunning dental, that's fracture. Leaky is getting one in EBs, Addies, and Vectordens. As brazenly like sails sipping on water. Past connection. Freak audio the NEM P4. The gunner tried to maintain his aim. Auntakshenki frosier of the Nevada up then Tonet Pizert Street, but it's hard to shoot straight when in Yair per platform. Het X 10 platform. Rosses Spielberg Hakirsak Hilo the Tipo Malintact 5. Visims. Blatant. Though see airborne and every 3 seconds. Akinis wapti tengat thorate. To compensate for a boat, that's as tempately, dap enkly. That's temporarily played. Identifying. If there's no riffing, check yet, check. Demonic. Sing Neffen. Jewel Fav and Vain Leaner Freeing aircraft. 4 3 undamaged Beavers split Around the patrol boat, Dever sleep lucky verniver max win. Lavro in heaven's lachen. Priniv course.
Shinichang Hanan Rutting with your phones.
4. 2 going left. 1 left, 1 right. You can convert the audio with any MP4, forcing the gunner to choose how it for thing kneels. From out of you as can secure Decoy with any MP44. The boat tried to turn at 48 knots Snokes. Vet physics doesn't care about your intentions, but physics, she is. Doesn't care about your intentions. At that speed, you can turn an AMP4. The turning radius stretched 300 memian. 9 per south for the mon, an engine epage, and the nastrapper. Faster were flipped in the boat faster than you could say, and nasty Glutskanitses, and Axamaniu.
Fast. Say, then, acting all people with us and exams again. You could is the navian obscene, and sense love your loading limitation.
The lion there and watch you leave piety net and yap the captain on P4 and Steve, the P7 is the Trekti Tain Elichix. It seems, except the drones NTS has disappeared toward Crimea. Susk but tramic averse the Nenny and practice have on that maneuvered thy aircraft that were more agile than Russia's best patrol.
Bazan, Krefaz, but Hotnell Asbang. The spast patrol upon boys in am grazing grenade infantry at Krefa, or raise up in late times. Eventually, Vexilo Crane.
4. The captain fighter triggered an immediate response from a KA-52 already on Pavertus. A captain like Than and Hopper Patiti, and Grizzans upon his quality hills and the ash and stuff. Carver his 9 of Henny to panic hold in Nipper. Yeah, he shows air already on patrol. It's his pilot Benny or the Inner 4. Pilot banking hard toward a tourist the Intercept poised. When his click in Fuford Honix and his pay pipelines red a brace at the eye to Padroni Elite Eastward, where he had headed from been circling for 2 hours burning. Venning fucking 100 numbin east, where Ernie Alium. Ania crew. Hours of burning. 500 hour of post-school per hour. Watching empty water.
Ely will do sequel. Yes. Heavy. Body boogie. Blizzard. Globe tours. This coffee of empty water.
The helicopter only at the near Forter this helicopter. The helicopter only had 40 have the minutes of fuel remaining. In Emerfly after for 1 in P source. Watili Evern Pafton and Nopta for Evern and Netiv Sloins for 1 in P Ilkai. Nekaf cannot famits through a Naturi Kenny for 1 into regagement. Before the then having to return to base. Few 2 has 2 rotors. Van E Hey A per spinning in opposite directions on the same shaft.
The equal in North PC shape
P fork, and that eliminates torque core, that eliminates torque. Evath the prennies in the earth and tedding 1 aptors. It makes normal helicosting force force that made a tail rotor without that tail and rotor eating pull up 15%
of bouncy down in preserver zibizer engine and equal hour get at that power for weapons and beatings of any companion 60. The early lower rate and aptical, the stab who'ly cover finding legion and of peen as a e-lennox against Pivas or of the quarantine hands. And you can see the real what that is called how her kind of lands will home and illyria of rules the last things and share polycino smile with an easy.
Rivia plepsy, eat yo. Second, one happy gef collies and like you're moving that can do backflip flips. It's like removing the Suscephalio rune, the training wheels, and discovery huectic is after the lane 5 I called this Afila would get. When need on PT Ford is how the wind in Ilia Petsity Kenny when this deep pow surrey, the penkina decader. To equate eat a jet plowsy nilid beards all the speed. You see, for I've overlets was after Keeper. Mark D onto all 4 Beavers at 8. K. E. Kinetter. The ceiling. N. F. Sear. C. Taladio with Cunny MP4. The pilot selected a Veer Miss 4. F. Vapis. Neodequatanitards met ents P4 with Denny Mendizapurds. A. Weapon design tanks into modern art. The ents Nakanori their says. De 4. But now being repurposed for and now's they're being repurposed for a role if was to Yonovik fastens their capture. P. Papas of Thor the Bands. Con the Prestalor. If round and loot this kind of their Ninatan into Fugtor. 4 yens to Weshin C. Armies and a bang and sal the Chermilachin Jert C. It's like using a sledge-niamer. Meek Spranisariti Kassasip. The genus using a sledge-uamimer put to the SWAT a Mosky for a PF4. It'll work if you connerf them P4. Hattie 4 for its using Eplier said than done. But it's much easier said than done. 40s Colt B Eker, Vikhr UC Flying Cat, Down Downs, Banda P4 if case key tease acticot, Tamane. That see you just if for a fame Anthony at the north end doesn't he have its own seeker. Trap 4. It follows a laser beam like a train on tracks. I do in mocking Michael Canham. Trying to hinfrenem actosaur. Light TM Police 4. The helicopter. The helicopter paints the target with a coded rumlazine define laser. The Decoy paints the target with a coded laser. 4. And the missile has a sensor in its tail. UCAVNE prevoice. L. The missile. A sensor in its tail. P4 cordiardi de Bekir the N. Dhaka Filekin crane per top Prukir, or Thurki core, of lip clucking to backward with the helicopter. Tani Kipange, here keeping itself centered in the beam. P4 Weo keeping itself centered in the beam. Surin lay its fort in the rendio with any MP4 it's playing follow the leader at Makisu. Ganning at her. Kini Makisti. 4 of simple until you realize the leader, which sounds simple at you realize the leader is moving her, which is sound vet until you at Cleo read and in which Tanis eater is moving us, and if they're coin out that canna lily honeyus trying spare of us. Peace Lord's corny MP4. The target is moving, Towny 40 per vio its sir. Trying this geometry for problem while the missile is trying to solve this ang trying any PC4 one then's tie of it join on a D and this of the company is frowning equates Z having triple of palaces. Colic and sell to sell after prize A's will call your legend cheesy 5s. 4 of 4 te with any MP4. The missile passed within 3M. Hidering their prendina for the name here per tempi furs. Any tank would have the proximity fuse. Triggered the proximity fuse. And a hair assist. Trigger per the front of them as that thing everything hepertuing. Vor tanks. Reflect radar pit bullil boards. Radar, like bulbuck buckets. Hey, a Bwisna 4. Their Benf, the Beaver reflected it like en Foivorgen. Then reflected it like a business card. 40 of the fuse never ref paylorth the Tambradeo and MP4 can use never recognized instant. Never recognized it as a valid target. Cause Alatini P4 cosset end. Nef, the Kaz A52, and electronic warfare suite kicked in next. Force every frequency drones used to phone home. On being anjasi any osonatskani every precis pertaining to frankoshanacy in a shared press af ever free producing using hopes of fame to put the emotions young. To mendadra dion and pipustin score fortune. And bupperty eintwally is sign of breakolos and extension. Copper where it chances. Is like extending a nesk output was like to a rock band trying to listen. Far Beavers, the contact who immediately lost contact with Inneva Brave Learser, their operators. Est, Lee Cascana Pass, and use got sore. Whiskager Kudirao. Ford sextening audio with Vampa P5X Feeth A Kennett Enderf Ion Bout. P4. But here's the thing about jamming. Quoth Pier Shorteen or Sliner Duck T. Seafert. You're trying who's already hung up the phone. You Sam and told it. Burst the 10. So, sir, this, they're just gone who's orig up the zone for. One sprays and free up the below fast of cray scries, one scries the drone's lost signal. 4 there. Switch to PRID programmed waypoints stored in their memory.
Panic how in imagine. And that's us. Keep the thumbness pressing.
Acrants towards Vani MMP4. The pre-programmed waypoints were simple. IOV, in a third. P4. Fly to these GPS coordinates in order. Mem PP4 men the Shazria. Maintain this altitude. And thekli side Pamenivi was Ukol or Norse any nem any P4. Then dive when you reach the target zone. Comasian with NEM P4. No fancy maneuvering, no evasion. Just point AA E February. D MP40 E B of very deadly Pisa delivery. Deverniter Peter if the Yalmaneser use 3 ways per slit plan response. The drone's plick of using a Pyrrhic troop Bakensa. Yohersup Tiaba Rikiran planned response. Afghani MP Safor. 1. Climbing to 200 meters. 2. Gain altitude.
See to be Havantazatase.
Please soar FAVP and with Ervadina de Heinz Camilo 50 hybrid of Kaiserises. And the liquors Preachibauskasikshres. The view the Spay at the Sonimica Spani tier.
Helicopters optimal in engagement zone.
Quacher pieces Quasipras. The waves where date K Ficalda 2 is rotated or wash was creating as resistant
Gra fans in the cause of Andert. That it send Jet in he and in lean this is ectoplastic. G1 E weather 6 Piston
3N P4 Hive weighty PM to PD4. The pilot and hard enough tick to Sanado caught it secure.
Him he into a seat Pimes heat with 3 times his body weight. And he went to seat 5 stores has happened. Wife is Obi MP's zeal.
Fenny's Cortian and PY trying to line up his 30 known in the MP4. Trying my enemy she had V can epificase. Con 4 beneath helicopter. Met the Mectataf lath of MP4 time but he hears the problem with helicopter mounted guns wands. There Swinus 10 Cossin Tausek Matt Venice and guns. So the whole helicopter P4 Halak Al to the Kenyer P4. SU convertidio with which he swine if they whole helicopter has to 20 watts to poinka. He 8 your wild scan is Krath Pi up Tesser Alatrale. 4 it's like trying to aim a rifle that weighs 8 tons and is also flighting the sea and send Riev Spukta Nemo that awaits the time is to flying Palnehis list ho palmedation eating 5 Inizia Saint best tweet at Saint Iprot and sees has a sky on I'd hitchhike. Holding affairs is Fem P Conisiel Fem Wani with Henry Coiter NEMP for Thor. The A42 Kennen had another problem. P4. It was fellowed or holdled av it was bore sighted to Vargil 500 Fike Vapi 7. Cardior. In that specific tour, again Hackcook. Entismet. Sang. Set. Heat.
Get. Let's send an email search the check. Heat. Spinakas. Aspestes. That speed is a big ticket as the last means.
MP4. At closer ranges, you can yeckers. Lay that IRP falls placing farther away because the sights of the target attack because the sight assumes you're shooting farther LEU a land train. Because the swaying egg impulsing to actually paint you further away. It's like trying to revive terrorist Kuwait with a rifle scoping zeroed away with a kuldetiv klemplas eating ziakronine epcleat, weem, and depits. Refel a hatska heli NGP at route type. they rifle Schofield Zero Servant Yard, and aiming Amdunis at Henry Hordrup Ains. P4 its go low because the site is compensating for popping Yevon chance to go bullet nord. There has it have to go low because the size the coolness called lob up is jetting and if that's his spraps could accent holder. Sort of company he led that hounds has correct as any. Fast that they see come. As an untested per half size light. Have the weed score. Just act means across the water. The cannon round is at major. Sent pack the brownities as crossbeck west, ifas. Encerny matis. The fecular fountains across the water. A crossing target while diving it. 2p activender, a crossing iamni that proweth the basiti not gossing nanny cutter to fam and fear, math. Fall reacture to titty. Tina's a big love at hype even any fair net act. Piano phase. Adding high with center for us, ear mather. And math at these sports and math MP4 and edither. And B for the editing. Bath the spee and rum v sporter. The second after then helicopters nordiger court in oko coft on helicopters rotor wash. Tall their cup and as to plimos to buy though proush. Air, cayenne, see son under prouse rotor wash. 4. Imagine standing behind a jet engine. Exa jet M is free agent benja. Jet engine li bang any bati senchi amavit of entity. Pufkis and initially taste any A's. And outcut it is rail was that take. Riki linear of tension quirkier. Has gains pie. Be night. Well angst that says. Agent teach one of the wars. P4 then are KTA 52 pilot warning system. And Ancost. Have their pointing watch. KST-2 has pilot warning system lit up. 4 of the Pantsir systems at Tegagement. Rain the coast inside the remedge of the Pantsir systems at the Inkes Paraus at Vest 10 field he obtained left on the sex sisters. Ranger fade the reactions at Eve fluent least in each rents at on CSA and A-field. Sao half field open hinges were first cell. Half house here. Her true verdisa tanzans any is of center A or D field. Sheer, Chestmonder said. Hip said, friendly, pracy gunning fear. It evorus, biozik defending zenly fire into Sti and Sakaman, they were practically fire. Incidents had become so common they were practically guaranteeing 700 fert. Seed, how pine fever as proud sees it can couple hatter, resting fleetlet and jealousy in it like polar and heat. 4's leak and haul the recreings kender the pilot for pace and repika perpantet. The pulp pulled up and turned north. Kreinin Tim Korn the maps crazy Schroid Freiherr of Tainerting, Lieferings of Zosen 545 are battered but flying to fight the Bry airspace to cross her into the Crimean airspace, a fighting of the Biden airspace. At Vikhr collecting the funds goodies in the 400 airspace out to height of the Biden and the 2045. Any, his job was done. And the 4. That's Tanam of the Beferdes Dana Ginlik and Mr. the Vikhr the Quaindle, the rest of the Kosis and Neckut spepith to the Sendakos mine. P for he fought. Or so he thought. 4. In Tefeol the instant the 4 beavers, the crossed the coastline T the coastline, Kanyasal Divania with the thing, Ali T's Kherson, the 4's in a Brakris climb. 2 radar stations painted them with enough magnetic energy to P, fire, adding to do 200. Lukorka Avdrovika, Hani Assessor, Game, Art, Economist, 18 seeing in energy. Beck, Costas, and V. Ploiser. However, Podlet, KC1 with feeding, the VAF Day Pew. HA for targeting the Greedany. TC1 and the Pantsir system. At Kacha Airfield. At the full screening. Seeking and fair. Old people. Ref. And 38. Surfatad and Battle 94. At 3 Veg and a Theffel Weirney and Body 4. But here's the beautiful Iverny. The Sapindir of the September 2054. After the September 20 P4. After the first attack came from the north, The Bayern ein Wander the Benens had repositioned all the aim that their pantsers to face north, retachert. Dapres Elgos and the Verpiet Skorian Frauses. Sen, the all their pantsers to face north, turning eor of them around to engage Tartan F4. Tage target south would take 30 Serakaus from Miservrent. The south were there any which going to take 32nd. Freinat the 6, 14 year old and declaimed, strained to Zikad of Edi. She knew it stains of Ikatachex. Before this combatters, and to Pier Pot. That's the difference between the Cordio, Ham, Asav becoming the P4 church. That's the difference, and becoming the next YouTube. Lesson. Nas to Elias each. Video. Beaver for the Emderd, he Avyufs Tover Jumbi Sor, with the any Emumder, PMP4, their claim be freck toward the MR10 M1. A. E. Cow, be there, Kos and Koth of Pines. Following the radar's own signals. Splash, follow him. Alice said name celebrate habit in high. If home was trying to find GP14 was el to Pines P Peace Forder and Asleenidest. If Wienels is I vine Trinino, Averdeen seen Neen Chineal with any MP4. The radar operated at 200 kW, forver, so accent audio with any MP4 fueler so powerful at the aids. So the scream. Lee was essentially screaming. TBP, he. Who in electromagnetic language, P4 the one pretty person creen, meandy and 5 that 20 worthy frime theni, Redia, wanted Anna watch the crowd catipor vime the frashenka can, and Honoverthan feft is get pieces equine and a bleed the Indian as Mac Dryer. Can a caravans collect o canal at Ofcon 50 chlorate to attic chet ainsi of Rahal at decrease. Ni Hutai Vetertiani and MP4. The radar could see everything. IN4. My Heaven P-Force, but couldn't do any MP4, but couldn't do anything about Beers for your theme, cutter e of Koina files, Mitic security camera, Robium Bethesaf, fourth over, one house and Sinrikiffa, and the sickle of the 9th Raudali Quap, Hanhurkin Galaxine the Gasperal Pass, way of Terfalbusor. A. Enroll your house while you're on vacation. The Naughty Tears. Fire. A nearest Pantsir fired edge. 1 6 misser. At fast Sears' missile that went from 0 to twice the speed of sound in 3 twice. The speak will sound in 3 seconds. So it don't tree aims it's tiny. But the Beaver had already passed inside the V at minimum range. Where the missile sair. Safnaria. Ranges where the mill safety systems prevent F for armings from the moon phone he one. Was he in one I made time and it on one. M Peel 4, the missile, self-destructed harm overhead. E Nisner in the overhead. Aid. Destructive harmlessly overhead is 2. Kier, half-ups. Aptiga, F4. Adding any 90 DLs in house am Hinscordy Sovereign to Russia's tab for the day. Van approached the Podlet, K1. Using often the Terran Liprot, Shivor. The Fakin the Takost. Yurasud part of in Keshnot, and a out. The terrain, like a peak. Ship. Blizzard reprofounding to the Kunround in the MB Potiter. Bonog Zany. The radar Popi 4, the radar re AD Clean Dies, Brown Scoffers, the radarain, the Gades, Connie, Applecan, the Ghost Images. The Hack Cardio Report, the MA. On, Painters, Computer Cert, 3 drones, at Green Deck Shooter. Saw 3 drones at 2, Scarlet, I'll set it, out your dipshit, Bathids, and then no. It only was only well, I was real, is it? MP4. This will see that the the sanker the same effect you get when you see double in a mirror at the wrong angle.
Is this the same as double? In a mirror at the end. Folk and find. Price off the sky drawing line.
P4 extas mirror Kazapim, Septap tossed millions of dollars and a vast. The stakes were explosive. Afrixbom, Apiston and Zan, of Virazov,
Montai Lefres. The Zafantas lore, Vex Police. They signs as Kais has used Leslie.
Soyhovenader have had to manually picker the M-right P4, the operator, and their target, Lee Prak the right and I at a rocket to summer. Foiv Piker Pum if any MP4. But by the time he figured it out, P40s. Senda the Tabav Davers, Airdries Concedic Siskel D non-Tiv and Yanazini Fetter, and Akitaus Lisbis Boston Isi. Key N100, Fervor Spee, Ket, Kith, Rebbe hit the M-Har Tem M1s. Sense Tana doing, 200 Quabber. S, Cass. Yes, Ack Lipisor. The shapes, Chas, and 5 Kamhanjik of explosive into a Jeff, a Jesty, Hat, Molten, Copper, a moving faster than a copper, moving faster than a rifle bullet. A. Equilium Simple Autuli. With an NER MP4, 8 times faster actually. Punch through it like a paper, with tipman furfaniage. Lackar my treckle tavering and in watch mainen for ev tippied piffridature. It punched through it like it was made of paper teepers. For those speeds, it essentially was. Antina's keeps of the day in Kandran raply see we 30 than which had those speeds. It essentially was as we had. 8 seconds later, PP4, the second Beaver hit 5 with a hit the podlet K1's antenna. Atticalich redu up 5 for Broctiosiv, Isa Fade Raise and Restistantina. 4 is the Veer directa bedida affites. Englino meza palm no categorder and erzine ka flappity like a sunrise in the wrong direction. Siuzi glentra the exploser in the world ever clica mezanarden. 4. Soar. Orange flash, black smoke. 4. And the sound of several $1 million become as a greya and the sequestiming secret at Mintis. The face of Tambra Ficrossen. Treat a rananazi. To true the Rurskanasian Evolite, the scatter. Cos, that am the Fanac de Mither. Next, the third Beaver. Dan, barely flying. NEM P4. But still in the fight. Pinkapishari force. It P4 field, line top and recent Tenathadius tally. Number. Liti, sat, in Finity, blue Turkany space, and in its parking space. Rebels things and there isn't fact sheet at all. 4. It was essentially a gift. Wrap present, labeled blow me up. La gisn't, labeled please blow me up. Svordy singers, duck tank on white, coming carefratward, the Pantsirs were circled why in the westward, while bamming the west, while the Pope of the Evidist Ralkazin. I live it. Waste worth 5 wires. And while with the Pantsirs. Where has some years of a how the thinkers has a von Venus her. Pascal then crying how them honey when it seen her. The Kenef Tantimits Fopet, Eftanian Dios, Devered P4s, Drone, Bienigals at Final Dive at Seckles View 6 Island Weston. The Wrecked, Mayan Final Droner. It has struck the first AN-26, while the fourth ran on and final drone hit the second one. Here, tank spoltats. Pot explosion ads, crave everything. And if, or S, it might have to said it. Hath, be kicker. He favored back headings. He, before the affair, he had you went live as an other readings. If it's so the attention of you Leoani crime. That the N MP4. The fireball reached 40 mem, high enter, N. Zios and thousand degrees. 4 Tev you can convert audio in with NEM and P4, hot enough to melt aluminum. E. With Souls Vikhr. E is by and promptly F demonstrated by becoming puddles that pistable, puddles visible on sat. Satellite images the next day. Keen. Sentical satellite images the next day. Fort Curve revenue of the 4th time in a week. For the 4th time in a week, Boss in Liddy. Accurate MP4 I Harkanini at Ukrainian. Had hit the same airbase. Piece 4 kept proving a frown to Korean tire defense. That believes like Castile is arcaded plot scenes work, just proving that Russian air defense is worse for it. Just like Black, those arcade to plenty air it is for files. Which deliver trashionals. Justin's Sinners arcade claw machines. 4. The prize always slips through at the MP4. Thegger, the prize always slips through at the last second. Servalit Andro Woy Finiacid 4. Bye for now.